Good morning, everyone. This is the first time that I'm standing here for a Sunday lecture since, I think, last February. And it's nice to see people here in the shrine, and I hope it's the beginning of fully opening up soon. But just in case I forget, next Sunday, Swami Atmajnanananda is speaking remotely. So he's in Hollywood for some time now. So other than that, we'll have all of our Sunday meetings open to everybody, double vaccinated. Double vaccinated people, anybody can come. And we'll continue with the live streaming and Zoom and everything also. But we're happy to see people in person when they come. So this Friday or Saturday, depending upon the calendar, is Guru Purnima. I've seen it listed both ways. Of course, Purnima means a full moon, so that's the middle of the night. So half of it is, we're half a day at, there's half a day difference, time-wise. So I guess some figure the 23rd and some the 24th. But I thought I would speak about, in the topic in praise of the Guru. This Guru Purnima is the full moon night of the month of Ashar. And the tradition is that this was supposed to be the birthday of Vyasa. We know about Vyasa that practically anything that was important that was written was attributed to Vyasa. From the very beginning, that he is the one who separated the Vedas. His full name is Vedavyasa. That means the person who separated, originally there was only one Veda, and it got separated into 4 different Vedas by this Vyasa. And then all of the Gita, the Puranas, and the Brahma Sutras and everything. So he stands kind of symbolically as the great teacher and the Guru. So this worship of the Vyasa came to be this worship of all the great teachers of the world even. So for Guru Purnima, we recognize all of the great prophets and gurus and teachers and founders of all religious traditions. The word itself, guru, is something very significant. We have equivalent terms in English. Our word gravity is connected with the word guru. The word grave, gravitas, heavy, all of that. It all comes from that same root. So I find this very significant, especially these 2 words, grave and gravity. That gravity is that pull, that pull of attraction between 2 bodies. We think it means that the force that makes something fall down. That's only because the earth is bigger and we're smaller. We're also attracting the earth. You know that. If we're up there and we fall down a little bit, earth will come up a little bit because we're also attracting it. But the difference in weight is so great. So the Guru is like that huge force that's attracting us, that huge magnet. So this gravity, the force of attraction will depend upon the weight. So this gravity means weight. It means the substance of the person. So we're talking about these great souls who have that power to pull us in. There's power to attract us and to really change our lives. So those of us who have had that blessing of the Guru, we know that. We talk about grace all of the time. And even Shankaracharya, who sometimes we think of as a dry intellectual, the very beginning of Vivek Chudamani, he recognizes grace. And it comes in 3 forms. What are the 3 forms? Human birth, there's longing for liberation, and this Mahapurusha Samshraya. So we have to have this, we take shelter with these great souls, and this is Deva Anugraha, that means Daya, that means the grace of God. We wonder, when will we get the grace of God? We already have it. That we come here, we've had the grace of all these wonderful realized souls, and the Holy Company. This is all grace. We shouldn't think that grace simply means that the skies open up and the light comes down and we have some vision and fall down and everything. We're also recipients of grace. And this is the time when we show our gratitude and we recognize the grace that comes when we find the teacher, the spiritual teacher, or the guru. So we have this idea of gravity, that pulling us towards them, leading us to a spiritual life. And the other is this gravitas, that means that there's depth, that there's some seriousness, some really quality in these great souls that we recognize to be very deep-rooted. And of course it comes from God realization. So we use this term gurujan, for anyone who's worthy of our respect that way. Little children, they'll bow down to the elders and everything. I remember once when I had not yet joined, and I went to visit one of our monks in Rahora. It was a boys' school. And when I got there, all the students came and they bowed down and took the dust of my feet. I thought, no, I'm not a monk or anything like that. So the other monkeys said, no, they do this with any senior person who comes, that this is just a sign of respect. Gurujan. So it's not just the spiritual teacher, that anyone who is considered to be a person of substance has to be shown some type of respect. But we're using this term guru, of course, for the spiritual teacher and the person who can really transform our lives. So in this sense also, even the forces of nature can be gurus. They can transform us. We have the story of the Avadhut, and he had 24 animals and forces of nature and different things that gave him these special teachings that he recognized. The one story that Sri Ramakrishna likes to tell is the kite. I always wonder, what is a kite? It's a thing you fly in the sky. But it's a type of eagle, or some type of only that likes birds, that flies in the ocean and everything. So this kite had a big fish in its mouth and is flying there, and all the crows and the caw, 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 they're attacking to try to get the fish out of its mouth. And this kite is fighting them and everything, trying to fight them off. And while trying to do that, the fish falls from its mouth. And all of the crows leave instantly. And there's Avadhut, he's sitting there watching the whole thing. So he got that teaching that as soon as we let go, peace comes. Tyagat shantiranantaram. As soon as we renounce and let go, then this peace comes. And then he said, this kite is also my guru. And like that. They had a very nice story about this Vilva Mangal. That here is a man so attached to his lover, prostitute, that one night in the midst of a terrible storm, he swims across the river. He can't find anyone to take him across. And he's so practically unconscious, thinking of when he'll meet his lover, that he doesn't realize that he's grabbed hold. He thinks he's grabbed hold of a log. And later he finds out that it was a corpse. And when he gets to the shore, he thinks he's walking across the stones that are there. He finds out that it's the alligators, crocodiles. And then he has to climb the wall, so he grabs hold of a rope, and he pulls himself. Later he finds out it was a snake whose head was stuck there. And then afterwards, there's Chintamani, his lover. She says, why do you smell so bad? Then they go and say, oh, it was a corpse. That's why you smell. And how did you climb up the rope? No, it was a snake. And then she says to him that, look, you're so unconscious of the world out of your love for me. If you had that same love for God, you'd become a saint overnight. And something went off in his head, and he said, yes, you're right. And he renounced everything, and then he bowed down, Chintamani, you're my guru. Because she's the one who transformed his life. We all have many upa-gurus. We'll have our main guru, but we have a system, especially true in our monastic order, because outside of this country, in India, only the president and vice president and now a few others give initiation. So many people travel from a long distance, or else they go to one of the centers, they give initiation, and then they won't have the opportunity to see their guru very often. So they all say there'll be some Swami at your center. A senior Swami that you respect, you can talk to and get advice from him. He'll be your Upaguru that way. So we have that tradition where only one Guru, of course, but we take the help of all these great spiritual souls. Then Sri Ramakrishna also emphasizes this idea, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. We should look upon the Guru as Satchidananda. Sometimes people ask, what about this idea of Guru? He'll say, Satchidananda alone is the Guru. And I think these Brahmos, they take it in the sense, good, we don't need a human Guru, that we can say God is our Guru. But Thakur really, he has that idea partly, but I think he's really saying that God has come in human form as the Guru. Don't look upon the Guru as a simple, mere human being. I feel that God himself has taken that form for your sake as the Guru. So I want to concentrate on two basic questions. One, what is the need for a Guru, and how can we recognize a qualified Guru? This question, I've mentioned this many times, how it seems to me to be such an odd question, that people would say, is it necessary to have a Guru? I find it very odd. It means that people don't understand what a blessing it is. It's like little children saying, do I have to eat my vegetables? Huh? Do I have to take this medicine? And you have to lose weight, so okay, do I have to exercise? Huh? Can I do it some easy way? It's so odd because it's such a great blessing. Why anybody would hesitate, I don't understand. I think a little pride is there sometimes, or I don't want somebody to make decisions for me. Some feeling is there, but for those who are wondering, who haven't taken initiation, it's not like that. It's not like taking bitter medicine that we'll be told to do things that we don't want to do and everything. It's a great blessing. So this is exactly the opposite of that the Guru is the one who is our greatest help in spiritual life. Thakur gives a nice illustration that someone wants to get some buried treasure that's at the bottom of the ocean. And somebody says that, well, I know that there's a chain connecting that. And I can actually give you, I know where the other end of the chain is. And I can put that in your hand. And I can tell you, if you go link by link by link on the chain, that you'll get that buried treasure. Part of the time you'll have to have a little faith and dive under the water. But eventually you'll get it. So who will say, no, I'd rather dive in the ocean randomly and try to find it? We're given that in our hands. We know that. And what does this mean? The mantra and japa. We don't know how many times we have to repeat it, but we know if we don't give up and we keep doing it, that we'll get that treasure. So the Guru is the one who puts that chain in our hands. So what is the need? It's not a question of what is the need, but why would we pass up such a huge advantage in trying to realize God is such a rare, difficult thing anyhow. Without that help, practically impossible. So this is the Guru. The Guru is the one who leads us by the hand, who tells us exactly what we have to do, and we have to have faith. We have to have faith in the teachings that we're given and the instructions that we're given. This is a relationship that has a different type of purity than other relationships because there's no selfishness there. The Guru doesn't require anything from us. We talk about the dakshina. You have to give something. This is just a formality. Really, the love that the Guru has for us is perfectly unselfish. In fact, the Guru wants us to be better than him or than her. We have women Gurus also. So there's no selfishness there, there's no competitiveness there. That Swamiji himself, he used to say about his own disciples, he'll be happy if they become far greater than him. And he even said that a small tree cannot grow in the shade of a great tree. So it'll be better when I'm gone. That big tree won't be there to stunt the growth of the others. They'll also become huge trees. So he only wanted to see his own disciples become very great. We use the term guru, of course, for any type of teacher. In the Indian tradition, there's so much reverence for this teacher-student relationship in the field of music, especially, and art and other things. They'll always look upon their teachers in guru and take the dust of their feet and show that same type of reverence. So do we need a guru? We may say that, well, Sri Ramakrishna didn't have a guru when he first had his first realization. First of all, we don't compare ourselves with him. But even he had that feeling after the realization of Mother Kali and that ecstatic experience when anybody else would say that the job is done. There's nothing left to do in spiritual life. It was such an overwhelming experience. Even he thought, well, I didn't do it exactly according to any plan, or I didn't have any guru. And then one by one, different gurus came. He had many. His case was different. So we don't compare ourselves with him. Ramana Maharshi, we may say, well, he didn't have a guru. He would say, he would point to that mountain. Arunachal, this is my guru, just to show that a little humility is necessary. That no, I didn't just do it on my own. So these are two rare cases. We shouldn't compare ourselves to them. So we have to conclude that the Guru is the greatest help to us in our spiritual life. There's some direct transmission of power also. We have this great benefit in our tradition that we're very close to that fountainhead. The fountainhead of power is Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. And all of the gurus of our tradition trace themselves back to one or the other of them. Some through the line of Holy Mother's disciples who became president, others, and then, or through the direct disciples to Sri Ramakrishna. So the transmission of Shakti, of power, is also there. Otherwise we can say, yes, I can also come up with my own mantra, and with great faith I can do it. But it's not surcharged with the power that comes from those who had realization, who repeated it and made it their own and passed it along. So it's different from just taking something on our own. That we get that power, we get that faith also. Otherwise we wonder, did I choose the right thing? And many people do that. Let me try it for a while. I'll repeat the name of Krishna, see if that does anything. After a while, we say, no, let me try something else. So we get that conviction that what we've been given is the thing that's best for us. This is a lifetime thing, and if we're not successful, we feel that it's not working. We understand that these things take time, and it's making progress without even realizing it sometimes. So the initial function, main function we can say of the Guru, is to point out to us what our spiritual path is, to give us initiation, to give us the mantra and the ishta, these two things combined, of course. That the mantra is what we base our spiritual practice on, and the ishta is that aspect or understanding or concept of God that appeals to us and is best for us. Now, we choose on our own. We may choose something that appeals to us, but it may not really be appropriate for us. Many people would go to Holy Mother, especially. Sri Ramakrishna's initiation was an unusual thing. We don't know anything about that. He writes something on the tongue, and sometimes he would repeat it, sometimes he wouldn't. It could have been just a bead mantra. We don't know anything. Holy Mother was more traditional. So very often she would say, my child, what aspect of God do you like? I mean, do you come from the Vaishnava family or a Shakti family? And sometimes they would say something and she would think and she would say, no, my child, this is for you, and give something different. Other times she would say, yes, that's fine, because it's good if it's something that we feel is best for us, but sometimes we don't know. We're not always the best judge. Sometimes we're the worst judge of what's good for ourselves. So we have somebody there who can be a little bit objective and can look deep within and have some deeper type of understanding what will be most helpful for us in our spiritual life. Now, how do we how do we know that we've chosen the right guru? This is another big question. We have to look at some of the examples that we have, especially Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna, because here we get this idea that the guru should be tested. Now, it may sound a little bit arrogant. Who are we to test? Huh? But we have to be careful. There are a lot of people who are claiming to be gurus. There are a lot of people who it becomes a kind of profession that are collecting a lot of disciples and everything, so we have to be a little bit cautious. Sri Ramakrishna liked that. He would say that the guru should be watched both day and by night, only then accepted. We know that story about Swami Yogananda. He had that doubt about Sri Ramakrishna and was watching him at night time to see where he went at night. And Thakur was pleased. He said, yes, you should observe the guru by day and by night. Only then, if you're convinced of his purity, then you should accept him. And Swamiji constantly was fighting with Sri Ramakrishna. He used to say that. I did battle with him for 6 long years. And Thakur would say, yes, test me. Test me like the money changer tests his coins. Only then will you really be able to accept what I'm telling you and know that it's for your good. So he did it, and he used to say, yes, because I did that, and now I know every inch of the way. And I know that everything he said was true. So it doesn't mean that we have some blind faith. Once we've accepted the guru, then it stops. Then we should do all of this testing ahead of time. Once we've done that, and then we should have full faith in the guru. Jodapi amar guru, shura badi jai, tatapi amar guru nityanandarai. The Thakur used to tell this, even if the guru goes to the grog shop, to the tavern, that I look upon him as still the embodiment of bliss. This is afterwards. You see him go before him, then don't take him as your guru. Once we've done it, then we should have full faith, because they may be a little eccentric also. But they shouldn't do anything wrong. This is one thing that we know. If we see somebody saying that they've claiming they've had God realization, this and that, and their behavior isn't very moral or ethical, then we know that it's only talk. Thakur says, those God-realized people, they can't take a false step. They can't do anything to injure anybody. Impossible. They don't even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. It's just not within their power to do anything harmful to anyone. So we have this special power that comes to us through this Guru Parampara, that from one to the next, to the next, to the next, we're recipients of all of that. And we have the Guru who also is a dynamo. These gurus that we find, the real ones, that they have some special power. There's no question about that. And there's a tremendous love that they have for us, but we're recipients of all of that. And we have the conviction that we're on the right path, if we have faith in them. So, we get 2 great boons from the Guru. One I will call Shraddha, and the other I'll call Vishwasa. These are 2 terms that are very closely linked together. The Shraddha means that we develop a little faith in humility and reverence. And we recognize the greatness of these people and everything. And as Vishwasa, we get a very deep conviction by seeing their lives, deep conviction that the spiritual life has tremendous benefits and rewards. And we see how character can be transformed through spiritual practice and spiritual life. We see this calmness and peace and joy and the forbearance and able to put up with so many difficulties and problems that we develop that vishwas, that conviction that it's possible. Otherwise, we read about it. We can read the Stita Prajna section in Gita over and over and over again. If we don't see one, it's Stita Prajna, somebody who's firm and unmoving and can put up with all sorts of difficulties and problems, we won't get that same conviction. So this is the other great benefit of the Guru, this Vishwasa. We get that conviction. Spiritual life is true, God realization is possible, transformation is possible, that detached life is a joyful life. all of the things that we may wonder about. We hear, but I think it's more fun to enjoy things and the ups and downs and everything, unless we see that there's somebody who is beyond all of that, and we see that deeper type of joy. Otherwise, we won't have that real conviction. And if we don't have that conviction, then we won't stick to it. We won't have that incentive to dive deep in spiritual practice. So this is another great blessing that we get from the Guru. Because some direct transmission comes through this type of holy company. They say spirituality is not taught, it's caught. That it's contagious. If we spend enough time with these great souls, then it rubs off on us. So the more we can have contact with the Guru, the better. In terms of teachings, very often we hear that we receive everything at the time of initiation. Every other question is secondary. If we really want to follow the teachings of the Guru, we don't have to know very much. We have to know what the mantra is, what the ishta, who the ishta is, and how we practice it, a few little things, and all the other philosophical things, they're important but secondary. Secondary. Main thing is that we know now we have something to hold on to with our spiritual practice. We're holding on to the chain. And we know we just go link by link. Even if we don't try to have any understanding of scriptures and read Upanishads and all of those things, we are holding on to that chain. So we just have to not let go. We have to keep going link by link. Sometimes they say, just don't get off of the train. We've gotten on the train. It'll take us to the end. All we have to do is not get off. That's all we have to do, is not stop doing our spiritual practice. We'll get there. When we'll get there, and how long it'll take, and which one of us will be first, that nobody can say. We were just reading that this morning, Swami Atmajnanananda, that there's no knowing when the God realization will happen and to whom it will happen. But our job is not to worry about that. Our job is to just keep going, forward. So what do we look for in the Guru? One thing is a stainless character. Generally, they talk about the 4 different qualifications. One is a stainless character, then free from desire. It means selfish, personal type of desire. And knowledge of the scriptures, which doesn't mean that there has to be a great scholar, but at least some understanding of the scriptures. Thakur gives that example that if you want to kill yourself, you can use just a little penknife. But for somebody else, you need a sword. So the gurus, they'll have to have a little more understanding of things to answer certain types of questions and everything. But we're not talking about these great scholars. We're talking about these loving souls. This is far more important. So we have stainless character, untouched by desire, a certain knowledge of the scriptures, and direct experience of higher levels of reality. That means God realization. Brahmagyanis. So, stainless character, this we know, that this has to be there. If we see any type of major blemish in the character of the Guru, then we know that this is someone who hasn't had a very high level of realization. In other fields, if someone's a professor of literature, a professor of science, anything like that, we don't care too much about their personal life. They can still give us the teachings that we need to be successful in our career. Spiritual life is the opposite, because their character is their teaching. So they have to be very pure and stainless that way. Thakur tells that story about the doctor who had a patient come to him with some type of ailment. He came from a village, he had to walk a long distance. And the doctor listened to everything, and he said, okay, come back next week and I'll tell you what to do. So next week he had to again travel the whole way there, and the doctor said to him, the main thing is you have to give up eating this gur, molasses. And then you should be okay. It's not a very serious thing. That should be enough. And then he left. His assistant said, why didn't you tell him the first time? You made him come all the way back. Huh? Why didn't you simply tell him? And he said, that day I had a big jar of molasses on my desk. If he'd seen that, he'd think, how can he tell me not to do it, that it's a bad thing when he himself takes it? So if we see that the Guru is telling us, you have to lead a perfectly pure life, but the Guru is not doing it himself, then what faith would we have? And we know that there's something funny about that. Untouched by desires means, first of all, that any type of worldly desire shouldn't be there, but even this desire that gurus have to be famous, to have a lot of disciples, to have a lot of power over people. Thakur said this Guru Giri is Besha Giri. Guru Giri means making a profession out of it. And he said, it's just like being a prostitute. What's the difference? Doing it for money, like that. So generally these gurus, especially in the old days, the traditional things, they would be poor Brahmins. They wouldn't have any money. They wouldn't accept some. Dakshina is usually just some token type of thing. Some traditions, householders are gurus. They need a little bit something just to live off of. They don't do it to become wealthy people. But nowadays we see, what was his name? Who was 100 Rolls Royces, Rajneesh, and others like that. Yeah. We don't want to judge and say that this one is phony and not, but these are not good signs. we can know that much at least. They'll always say we're beyond these things. This is what, and many of them believe it. There's another problem, that the devotees spoil the guru so much that they start to think that they can do anything and no one will care, and that they're beyond everything. The rules don't apply to them anymore. You have to do this, but for me, I'm beyond all of that. These are all red flags. Then, as I said, knowledge of the scriptures, it doesn't have to be the knowledge that a pandit will have. Very few of we've had a few swamis, of course, but very few of them can do what these pandits can do. They can quote the scripture all day long, but they're like the donkeys, who carry the weight on their back and don't know the sugar that they're carrying, or the scent of the sandalwood. So it doesn't mean anything like that. Look at Totapuri. Now, what was his knowledge of Gita? I'm sure he was very knowledgeable, but what was his teaching? You repeat it 10 times, and what do you get? Gita, 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 Gita. The meaning is renunciation. You don't have to know more than that. Then Swami Turiyananda, when he was a young boy, Hari, and he wasn't coming to Sri Ramakrishna as often as he had in the beginning. So Thakur said, what happened to that boy Hari? Where is he? Why isn't he coming? And they said, well, nowadays he's very busy studying Vedanta scriptures. So he said, okay, very good. And then when he came, he said, okay, tell me something. All of your Vedanta that you're studying, is it anything more than Brahman alone is real, and this world is transitory, and the individual soul and Supreme Soul are one and the same? And he said, no, Swami Mahashaya, they said, no, there's nothing more than that. And he said, okay, then that's enough. Of course, he became a great scholar. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't study the scriptures, but this is not the ultimate prerequisite. The prerequisite is really having realized the truth of the scriptures and knowing the essence, the gist, the real meaning of the scriptures, which is that we're already perfect. God dwells within as our real self. The main teaching. Of course, there are other ways of saying. We may say main teaching is love of God is the highest ideal, but whatever it is, to have realized that in life. Now, this last qualification, did I do the other three? This God realization, Brahmagyani, this is too high. We don't find too many of them. We shouldn't even ask. Very often people would say, oh yeah, this Swami was a realized soul. This Swami had these visions, this one had near-becoming. We don't know who had what. And it's not like, there'll be a stamp somewhere that, oh yeah, this one is realized, this one isn't realized. We're talking about those who are mature spiritual aspirants who have become established in spiritual life and have no doubts about it, have that type of conviction that I spoke about before. Whether they've had nirvikalpa samadhi, how many have had nirvikalpa samadhi? Even after the direct disciples, you go to the next generation of swamis. How many do we know that really have had that type of samadhi that Thakur says most people won't come back from? So that, it doesn't mean that. We don't have to say that, no, I'll keep looking for a guru until I find a brahmagyani, someone who's fully God-realized soul. We shouldn't think that we can judge, number one, and number two, it's not necessary. These gurus of our order, at least, they're all highly spiritual souls. They're so far above us that we wouldn't benefit anymore if they were having samadhi day and night. They're plenty good enough for us, for our caliber. Here's a nice quote from Swamiji. He says that these spiritual giants are like the first lamps from which other lamps are lighted. True, the light is in everyone, but in most men it is hidden. The great souls are shining lights from the beginning. Those who come in contact with them have, as it were, their own lamps lighted. By this, the first lamp does not lose anything, yet it communicates its light to other lamps. 1,000,000 lamps are lighted, but the first lamp goes on shining with undiminished light. The first lamp is the guru, and the lamp that is lighted from it is the disciple. So this fourth qualification, this is the most important, not the brahmagyani part, but the spiritual stature part. That we really have to find somebody who has that devotion and that love and that conviction, all of these things, whether they've had higher levels of meditation and realization, we can't judge those things and we shouldn't bother about that. But there's some, we come into contact with them, we feel something tangible. We know that they're so deeply established in spiritual life, that their love of the ideal is so strong, that their dedication is so complete, that they've renounced everything, and that they only care for God realization and service, and seeing God in others and helping others. This is enough. But this is the most important thing. We're not looking for a great pundit or anything like that. So our attitude towards the Guru, it should of course be one of great reverence. That when they tell us to do something, if we don't understand, we try to get some clarity, of course. Otherwise, we say that that understanding will come. That they won't tell me to do it if it's not for my own benefit. We have to have at least that type of faith, that they won't tell us to do anything that's not in our best interest. Very often it'll be a scolding. There's a very long tradition in India of the gurus giving a good scolding to the disciple, because they really want to impress upon them that we don't want to see any blemish in your character. We want to see you become perfect. And it's out of love that they'll give these scoldings. Sometimes we wonder, maybe they should love us a little less. The scoldings are so strong. But we know they have no other motive for it. They're not gaining anything out of it, but they want to see us become perfect. We look at Swamiji and his disciples, Raja Maharaj. Thakur wasn't too bad. He didn't scold very much, or Holy Mother. But the next generation, Swami Premananda, even Swami Premananda, so full of love. He had no disciples. You know that Swamiji told him that if you have disciples and Raja has disciples, Swami Brahmananda, that they'll quarrel. And you're such a loving soul, everyone will want to become your disciples, and so better not, you don't give it. So he never gave initiation. But everyone looked upon him as the guru, and he could scold like an expert, or these young monks who joined under him. He was a master at scolding, but with such love that they just they could feel a tangible feeling of love. Now, we find people who won't do anything without consulting the Guru, even personal questions in personal life. This, some cases, is a good thing. Some cases we have to make our own decisions, and we can't expect them to always understand. Look at the relationship between Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. Sometimes he would tell her to do things, she would say, mind your own business. Huh? If it was something like, how much food can the boys have? Yeah, you're giving them too many chapatis a night. How will they achieve? That's my business. You don't worry about that. Yeah, but any question with spiritual life, then of course you wouldn't question it. So sometimes we have to also use our common sense a little bit. And those who become too dependent on the Guru, this is also a problem. That for some people, the Guru is the beginning and end of spiritual life. And Guru passes away and they have nothing to hold on to. We see this sometimes. And even we see among some of the monastic members in this country especially, that are so attached to the Guru, then the Guru leaves, and they end up giving up monastic life sometimes. It can happen. So we also have to stand on our own feet a little bit. Then service to the Guru. How do we serve the Guru? The best possible way is by becoming great ourselves, by following the teachings of the Guru with great love and reverence and everything. Other types of service are also important. That if the Guru comes, that we do anything. That we want to cook and serve and clean and massage the feet, whatever it is that we do. It's a great joy for us and a way of showing our love and everything. But the number one thing, if we do all of those things and we don't follow the teachings, we don't do our meditation and our japa, then it is not worth anything. So that's the number one thing. After that, of course, any type of service is a wonderful thing for the Guru. Okay, I want to stop here and just a little bit. I wanted to say a few words about Swami Swahanandaji. Now, normally we don't talk too much about our own gurus. It's a kind of a private thing, and everybody thinks, oh, my guru's the greatest and everything. But it was his 100th birthday anniversary recently. So I think I can just say a few things, because he was the one who molded me in my spiritual life and showed so much love and affection and put so much faith in me that I just have so endless gratitude toward him. So I thought I would just tell a little bit about how he came to spiritual life. His story is a very beautiful story. The very sad thing is that his father passed away before he was born. So he grew up without a father. And his father had gone to Holy Mother for initiation when he was younger. And at the time of initiation, he told Holy Mother he himself wanted to become a monk. And somehow she had some insight. She said, no, it's not for you, but there'll be others in your family line who will become monks. And so he went back and he got married, and there were 2 sons, and then before the 3rd son could be born, Swami Swananji, he had a massive heart attack. He had some type of government job, and he had to go back to Shimla, back and forth, and I think on the road there had a massive heart attack and died. So here, this young Bipud Bhanjan was the name that he was given, that he was born and raised mostly by his aunt and uncle. Mother, of course, was there. But they lived in the town of Habiganj, so he lived there and went to school there. The house was just around the corner from the ashram, Habiganj ashram, and there were some very, very highly spiritual souls at that time who were staying at that ashram in Habiganj, all connected with the Swami Atmajnanananda, who founded the ashram earlier. So as a young boy, he went there, and he said he went there pulled by the library. It was the library that attracted him, because he loved to read books, all different types of books. So he spent so much time there that they gave him the key. He didn't have to ask for it. And then they put him in charge of the library, and he read all of the books there. But gradually he was pulled in by the holy company of the monks, And he started going every early morning. He would go and attend the early morning prayers and scrub all the vessels and things, the cooking vessels and things, even use plates that other people use. His aunt and uncle, they weren't very happy about that. For a while they stopped him going and everything. But I asked him one time when he knew that he would become a monk. And he said, when I was 14. And he had this great desire, as a schoolboy, to take initiation from Swami Atmajnanananda, who was president of the order. And he wrote some letters to him and got letters back. These were great treasure to him. He kept these letters and would tell us about them. And we, of course, got to read them after, I think, 4 different letters. And so there were 2 young boys, and then 2 older, I think, college students, something like that, that they made the long trip. The Hobbyganj Sylhet district in what's now the Bangladesh, to Bellarmine. It was the year of the centenary celebration of Sri Ramakrishna's birth. And in the meantime, Swami Atmajnanananda passed away. So Swami Vijnananji was president, and he went and had his initiation then. And gradually, he went back and did his college studies and everything, and felt this tremendous pull to lead a monastic life, and ultimately joined in Calcutta, right at the main campus there, in Bellarmine, the Vidya Mandir. Anyhow, by the time he came to America, and he was first in San Francisco and Berkeley, I met him then in 1974, and immediately liked him. He was so outgoing and open and free. We used to think the Swamis, you have to be very nervous around them and everything, that they'll be very formal and strict and everything. He was the exact opposite. I went there, he said, come have some tea and let's go for a walk. So we formed a very sweet relationship. I only was there for a few days. And then I went back. And then later, when it came time for me to join, I had this idea of joining in India. And they said, no, join in the West. You contact Swami Swanandaji. So I said, oh, okay. He's my good friend. So I contacted him, and he had a very interesting way of doing everything. Very matter of fact in everything. He wrote back to me, we already have our full number of monastic members now. We're all full, but we'll make an exception for you. So then I joined there, and he did a very nice thing for me. When I went for brahmacharya in 1992, I asked him where I should go on pilgrimage. Generally, I had 3 months off. And generally, we go to Benares and we go to Rishikesh and maybe Uttarakhand, Mayavati, those places. So he thought for a second. I don't think he was really expecting to say anything, but he said, why not go to Bangladesh? And Bangladesh? Why would I go to Bangladesh? I didn't know at that time that he didn't talk about it too much in those days where he was from. Anyhow, he put me in contact with all of his family members and made me really part of the family. And later I went for the temple opening in Hobbyganj and everything, and this connected me. Now I know all of his family members. I think there's Mona Lisa in California I've never met. But anyhow, all of the ones in Bangladesh and Birati, place near Kolkata. And of course his nephew is my best friend. So there was another one in the family line who became a monk of the order. And then when I came back after sannyas, he said, I want to send you to Washington, D.C. I said, why? I said, I'm so happy here in Trabuco. I loved it in Trabuco. And he said, it'll be good for you and do some pioneer work. And I said, I don't really want to go, but if you really want me to go, I'll go. I said it very hesitatingly. He said, good, then you'll go. So then he sent me, and we had so many trips together, and really it was a fantastic experience working with him, having him show me that the faith and confidence and everything, and really just like a father. We all say Guru is like a father, but it was more. It was really almost like a biological father because of the family connection and everything. And when he came here, it was such a joy for everyone. Those of you who remember those days, he was so relaxed, and loved to just sit around. It would go on for hours, and after the meal, sitting with everyone. So I offer my special reverence on this day to Swami Swananji, to all of the great gurus of all of the different traditions. And I'll finish with a quote. This is from Swamiji. He says, "Our salutations go to all the past prophets whose teachings and lives we have inherited, whatever might have been their race, clime, or creed. Our salutations go to all those godlike men and women who are working to help humanity, whatever may be their birth, color, or race. Our salutations to those who are coming in the future, living gods, to work unselfishly for our descendants." So I offer my prayers to all of the gurus, that there'll be inspiration for us, and that we'll keep hold of that chain and keep going forward more and more. So, as I mentioned earlier, next Sunday will be a little exception. Swami Chidbrahmanaji is helping out in Hollywood. Now they're a little short-handed, so Swami Sarvadevaranji asked him to stay a little longer. He was going to be back in time, but he'll either record it ahead of time or do some live streaming. So check the. You'll have to follow on the website. There'll be a link for that, and you'll be able to watch it that way. Otherwise, we encourage everybody to start coming. You can any of our Zoom classes, you can come in person, and any of the other programs, and but we'll continue with this live streaming and everything for those who can't come. So I'll close now. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinas sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. May all beings be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize the highest good. May none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace be unto all. One other thing. Normally, we always would invite